Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Leslie. Today's video is a bit different once again. I hope everyone is doing fine. It's been a long time no talk, long time no see. And once again, the views expressed in this video are purely based on my personal opinion. Following the recent events, I just had so much on my mind that I wanted to share with you and so much on my mind that I wanted to discuss. Following the death of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, the rise of the Black Lives Matter movement really got me thinking a lot. So just like many of us, I was involved, I've been participating, I went to protest. I've spent much of my life not calling out people when they were racist towards me, and I decided that, like, for me, enough was enough. I've been participating in encouraging the Black Lives Matter movement. It's almost as if some people are almost surprised that I've been participating, almost surprised that, I could take interest in this, as if, I don't think they're saying that I'm not Black, but it's almost as if it was a surprise to them, almost as if they realized that I was Black or something. Like, I'm sure they knew, but maybe they didn't think that I was Black like that. You know what I mean? I don't know. And then it just got me thinking, what does it mean to be Black? What makes someone Black, In the sense that some people are even wondering why you as a Canadian are even partaking interest in this matter. It's not an issue that only exists in the United States. Then it got me thinking about how throughout my life, many people have not seen me as being Black. I've been called Oreo. I'm sure that many of you Black folks are familiar with this. So when people use the term Oreo, they mean that the person is Black on the outside and then white on the inside, whatever that means. I've been called that mainly by white people.
What do you,
as a non-Black individual, know about being Black? Then I realized that growing up, and even now as an adult, when we look at the media, when we watch movies and TV shows, Black people are often portrayed as a certain stereotype, to the point where when I was growing up, I was also questioning my identity, because when I saw Black people on TV or on TV shows, they were, not always, but often they were gangsters, they were thugs. Black people are portrayed as people who love hip-hop music. They love dancing. Black people are portrayed as people who are loud. You start to realize on how much my own vision of what a Black person is was shaped by this. My own self-reflection was influenced by the things that I saw in the media, the things that I saw on TV, the things that I heard on the radio. Growing up, I felt inadequate as a Black person because, yes, I like R&B music, but I don't like rap music that much. Like, I'm not a hip-hop head. Does it make me less Black? And even amongst ourselves, like, I've heard a lot of people say things, and even myself, I've said things like,
oh, you like indie folk music? No way, that's white people music.
As if most genres of music that we know in the Western Hemisphere were not influenced by Black artists and Black musicians. Go figure, right? Then it just really got me thinking, how much of my identity was based on what other people told me? How much of my identity was based on what I saw on TV? Why is it that we want to tell other people what they are for them? Black people, we don't fit in a specific box. We don't fit in a specific stereotype. And that's the impression that I had growing up. Like many people, I grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood, white schools, white everything, like I've always been the only Black girl in my class. And back then, growing up, I knew that I was Black. I could see that I would not necessarily fit in with some other Black kids because I was like, well, Black people, we're supposed to like hip-hop music and we're supposed to do all those things. But who says that? The same people who push this type of narratives are non-Black people. But sometimes even amongst ourselves, we tell other Black people, oh, you're not Black, you're white. No matter, it doesn't matter if you're even close to your home culture, people back home, they'll still call me white. Even my parents that grew up over there, they will call them white. And here we are in this country where people do not see you as white, they see you as strangers.
Damn, it kind of hurts.
What does it mean to be Black? What makes someone Black and what makes someone more Black than someone else? It's like, I know that my colleagues or my acquaintances, they know that I'm Black, but for some of them, I feel like they're almost surprised if you talk about racism. They're almost surprised if you talk about Black issues, almost as if they saw that you were Black, but they didn't think you were black. They didn't think, they didn't think that you would be interested in such issues, or they thought that you would be more integrated. So what makes someone Black? You tell me. Well, obviously, except for the color of their skin and if they're direct descendants of Africa or the Caribbeans. For me, I feel like if you identify as black, you are black. And even if you don't identify as black, you're still black though. I don't mean like cases where it's a white person that says that they identify as insert culture here and then it makes them that culture. That's not what I'm talking about. I think that one of the things that makes someone black is for that person to recognize and be aware of their ethnic background, be aware of their history, be aware of their cultural background, to ensure to perpetuate part of your cultural background, some of your values, working hand in hand with other people of your community, wanting to help the people from your community. I do agree with the saying that says, if you don't know where you're from, then you don't know where you're going. But then what happens is that many of us, we are disconnected from where we are from. We're disconnected from our history. Many of us, we don't know the history of slaves in Canada because they don't teach us. It's okay to recognize that Canada has an history from Europe. We still need to learn and to know about the history of slaves in Canada, the history of our origin countries, the history of Black Americans as well, Black Canadians, Black people from all over the world. I think that plays a huge role in our identity. The first step would be to recognize our history and recognize how we got here, understand our past to better walk towards our future. And you know what? Many of us have been stripped from that idea. I don't think there's anything wrong with liking a certain type of music or a certain type of food. You realize how damaging it is what you see on TV and what you see on the internet and stuff like that. The stereotypes are crazy. We need to break those stereotypes. We need to just be whoever we want. I see what they were trying to do, to strip people from their cultures, strip people from their history. But our history makes us who we are. It's the type of thinking that I started doing because of the Black Lives Matter movement. I just want to learn so much more about my culture. I want to learn so much more about where I'm from. I want to learn so much more about the history of Black Canadians, something that we never talk about in school, never. It's not normal. It's not okay. They just wanted us to assimilate. We have to stop trying to assimilate people. We have to recognize their cultural differences. We have to stop saying things like, oh,
I don't see race. I don't see the color of people's skins.
That is just so damaging. I know who I am. I don't know my whole history from A to Z, but you better believe that I know enough. The way Black people are portrayed on TV is so damaging. It's damaging to the Black community and it's also damaging to the non-Black communities, who some of them do believe in those stereotypes. Personally, growing up with my family, we never talked about race that much. We didn't talk about racism much. Yes, we talked about our culture, our cultural background and stuff like that, or traditions. But we didn't really talk about Black people specifically. Just as I said earlier, I knew that I was Black. I didn't really know what that entailed. When I started really identifying with other Black people was when I was maybe in college. Then I started spending more time with my relatives, fellow Black people who grew up in Canada, so we sort of had a similar experience. Then I met some other people who had that same experience as me, like there were so many things I could finally identify with. Also, when I was in college, that's when I discovered the TV show. No, it was not a TV show. It was like a YouTube series by 𝘂𝗫𝗍, The Awkward Black Girl. And I was like, this is so relatable. Oh my God, where have you been all this time? Some of you may not understand this, but this was huge for me. It was huge. And I'm pretty sure it was huge for a lot of Black folks out there who never really found a way to identify with things that they saw on TV. It was just so refreshing. Anyways, I've been rambling a lot. What makes you who you are? In your opinion, what makes someone Black? I'm very curious to read what you're saying and to see what other people think. Also, if you want to support and read more about the Black Lives Matter movement, please follow the link in the description box below. Oh, and by the way, I also have a podcast that is called A Sea of Diamonds. It's available on all types of platforms. There's a link in the description box. Thank you so much for watching. And if you like this video, please leave me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I will see you next time. Bye.